Hello friends, this is Andre Desjardins, and I'm going to do a couple of Hour of Devastation Crack-a-Packs. So I just got finished from the pre-release. A lot of people said this format slowed down, but I think it is slower and sealed in general, and you still have to respect the aggro decks because I think they're still pretty good. So the first one up is Dauntless Aven. It's a 2/1 flyer for a white and 2 colorless, and when it attacks, you may untap target creature you control, or they get to exert in for free. 2/1 flyer for 3 is already good for white. It's good for the color they're getting. The fact it gives, a creature Vig or helps an exert thing, removes the drawback, or even just creatures with tap abilities. It makes it really good. I think it's a C+. I think this is a very solid common. It's not quite a reason to go into white, but you're going to be happy to run these if you are in white. Alright, next up is Firebrand Archer. It is a Goblin Piker status, so a colorless and a red for a 2/1. You cast a non-creature spell, deals 1 damage to each opponent. Exceptional card in Two-Headed Giant, but it's just a C for normal draft. You'll play it, you'll be happy because you need 2 drops, but the other ability is, I don't think it brings it up to C+ or anything. If you get a damage or 2 from the other ability, you'll be happy, but that's it. Alright, next up is Aerial Guide. It is a 2/2 for a blue and 2 colorless with flying, and when it attacks, another target attacking creature gains flying until end of turn. So it's just strictly better Windrake. The second ability is very good. My one concern is I'm not sure there is an aggressive blue tilted deck. If there is, this is going to be a B-. Otherwise, it's a C+. It is what I would take right now from the pack, just because it can give, whatever you want evasion, and a 2/2 flyer for 3 is pretty good. So C+, I'm taking it over the Dauntless Aven just because I want to try it. If the Dauntless Aven turns out better, I wouldn't be that surprised. Alright, Oasis Ritualist. Here, this guy, the ramp is real. So it's 3 colorless and a green for a 2/4. Those are okay stats, and you can tap to add 1 mana of any color, or exert to add 2 mana of any color. And this guy is, he was great in sealed. I think he's going to be good in draft because he blocks very well. And plus, there's very few that, in this set that can ramp you 2 mana at a time. Nothing at common. I guess Gift of Paradise does, but he can bring you from, 4 on turn 4 to 7 on turn 5, and that's a big ramp, big game. The fact it comes on a body is very good. When it's him into like Greater Sandworm, it's going to be hard for your opponent to recover. All that being said, I still think it's a C+. But he's big game. You want to watch out for this guy. Alright, Marauding Bone Slasher is a black and 2 colors for a 3/3, and he can't block unless you control another zombie. So one, this is great for black, because black usually doesn't get this quality, 3/3s for 3. The fact it can't block really doesn't hurt it that much, because this is, Amonkhet, no blocking allowed. And if you have a zombie he can block, black does have lots of zombies. I think it's a C+. I think the black decks are really going to want this guy. He blocks. He's very good stats for black creatures, which is something they don't normally get. Alright, Bitterbow Sharpshooters. It's a 4/4 for 5, Vigilance Reach. It's fine for a 5-drop. Excuse me. That being said, 5-drops are pretty interchangeable. I'll give this a C-. If you need a 5-drop, I'm sure you can get it to fill it in, but it can be done with just about any other 5-drop. Alright, Feral Prowler. It's a 2 mana, 1/3, and when it dies you get to draw a card, so upon death it cantrips itself. Sealed, it's fine, but for draft, I think it's C-. I'm really not going to look to play this guy. Most creatures have the ability to just smash through it, and yes, it replaces itself, but board presence is a big thing. This doesn't affect the board in a great way. So C-, you'll end up playing it sometimes, and that'll be that. Alright, Desert of the True. It is a land desert. It enters the battlefield tap. It taps for a white, and you can cycle it for a colorless and a white. There are definitely Desert Matters cards, and deserts really are a thing in this set. I'm not sure if there's a desert deck where you just draft all the deserts, but for a lot of your cards you will be picking up desert. There's only really one in white that I know is worth it, and that's the uncommon land. Like I know there's the Campbell that gives lifelink, and the lifelink is fine, but it's really nothing that special. But you'll play one or two deserts if you can. You can usually afford to put it into play tapped turn one, or you'll find a spot to put into play tapped. Overall, I think the deserts are C+. You're going to want to draft them and play them if they're in your colors. Next up is a Grilled Cestrodon. It is 4 colorless and a red for a 4/4 beast, and whenever it attacks, if you control a desert or there's a desert in your graveyard, target creature can't block this turn. This guy's kind of subpar. 4/4 for 5 is, once again, has the 5-drop slot problem where they're pretty interchangeable. It's nice that he can make a creature not block, but that's not necessarily the reliable top end you want in your red deck. So D+, I think sometimes you'll play him, but you won't be happy about it. Alright. Next up is God Pharaoh's Faithful. Whenever you cast a black, blue, or red spell, you gain life. It's no 4 for 1. I think this is a strict D. You're not going to want to play this, even if you are one of these other colors. It just doesn't do enough. It blocks kind of okay for 1 mana, I guess, but it really doesn't do enough. So D. Alright, here we go. Speaking of the uncommon deserts, this one is a Hashish Oasis. So all of them, the uncommon cycle, tap for a colorless, where you can pay a life and add a color of the respected mana. This one also is 1 in double green, sacrifice a desert, so it can sacrifice itself or another desert. Target creature gets +3/+3 until end of turn, and you activate it as a sorcery. And just lands that also act as spells are really good, because it means you get to play more of your drafted cards. So I'm going to give this a B-. It's currently my #1 choice for being picked. It's a desert, and just the fact it's also a spell and a land, later on spell. It's not a great spell, but the fact you get an extra spell in there makes it a B-. This is the current leader in the pack, and I think all the deserts, with the exception of the blue one, are very powerful. Alright, next up is Rashaka's Right. It is 3 mana and 2 colorless for a demonic tutor. So you should strawberry for a card and put it in your hand, and it also has cycling 1. I'm going to give this an F. You're not going to want to play this. 5 mana to find a card is really expensive. You should usually be paying 4. There's also the cycling on it, which is whatever. That's its main mode to me, is cycle for 1, but yeah, you don't want to play these cards. Wasting your whole turn to go find a card. That next card, really, really better be worth it. And I just think this is an F. I don't think you should play it. Alright. Finally, we have, another uncommon, Consign to Oblivion, and this is return target non-land permanent to owner's hand at instant speed. And then Oblivion is a 5 mana Aftermath. Target opponent discards 2 cards at sorcery speed. So I guess the thing you get with this is at the end of their turn, you get to bounce their main non-land threat, and then on your turn you get to make them discard it. This is a bit meh. No Franny. No Franny. You can't come across. That's my cat. Say hello to my cat, everyone. She's coming across anyway. She doesn't care what I think. She gets to go lick the cards. Come on, cat. You are a pain in the ass. So stop licking the cards. So this is, I mean, Consign's playable by itself. That's a C by itself. Oblivion is just gravy. I wouldn't use it to really change the grade at all. 5 mana Mind Rots aren't that great. 7 mana to deal with a permanent really isn't that good either. So it's a C. Consign is a C, and Oblivion is there. And we have a rare Deju with Eyes Open. He is a 4/3 for 5 with Vigilance. And you may search your library for a Planeswalker card, reveal it, and put it in your hand. And if a source would deal to a damage to a Planeswalker you control, prevent 1 of that damage. So in most decks, he's a 4/3 Vig for 5, which is C-, D+, not that great. If you have a Planeswalker, you can go fine. He goes up probably to a B then, because he is, like 5 mana, that is a decent body. And then he gets to stick around and help the Planeswalker, but he's on his own. Most of the times he's going to be a C-, D+. If you have a Planeswalker, he goes up, but otherwise not very good. Probably don't need to pick him. And I got a land and an Exert token. So I'm first picking the Hemp Oasis. It's not even close for me in this. Just probably going to see play. It takes the spot of one of my lands and is also a spell. I think it's very good. So this is Andre Aguirre Desjardins for Crack-a-Pack. Thank you and have a good day.